Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. So I'm Thibaut's clone, as Mark said earlier. The only difference is I'm a bit taller, but apart from that, the accent is the same. Basically, I'm going to present to you in two parts, basically the season as we saw it at Fruition Sciences. So for this the first part, I will talk mostly about the early season, and then I'll talk about maturation season. So just to describe a little bit what Thibaut did to really analyze vintages since we created the vintage report in 2010, is we divide up the season in 5 parts. So the first part is winter, and arbitrarily we stop it on March 1st. Then the second part is the early growing season, so from March 1st bud break to the moment where shoot elongation stop, which is usually around June 21 or June 15, depending on the season. And then the third part is still what we would say growing season, but toward veraison. And then the fourth part is between veraison and sugar stop. So Cecilia will talk about that later today. This is a concept that was introduced by Vivelis, but we estimate at Fruition that the sugar stop is really like a phenological stage. So which is usually August or end of August. And then obviously the last part is color accumulation until harvest. And so in terms of the analysis that I'm going to do, I'm going to focus first on the plant physiology, so 1, 2, and 3. And then after the break, I will focus on berry composition, period 4 and 5. So in terms of what can you measure to really understand these different parts, during the first part, really we are looking at mostly rain and a little bit of temperature. And then in terms of plant measurements, you can do bird fertility and wood reserve. So wood reserve would be done with physiocap or weighing woods. Then in the second part, we are mostly going to look at rain and GDD, with a little bit of the temperature side of things and light exposure towards the end. And in terms of plant measurement, you can do nitrogen uptake, things that we do, for example, with the Dualex, or shoot elongation with just measuring how fast shoots are elongating. And then in the third part, still rain and GDD. For sure, you're going to start really looking at temperature and VPD, light exposure, still nitrogen uptake, and then you can start looking at vine water deficit and cluster count. And then on the maturation side of things, we are still looking at rain and GDD. VPD is obviously a very important parameter, light exposure, vine water deficit, and then we're going to introduce the fruit measurement, so yield components, pulp components, and from after sugar loading stop, skin components, colors and polyphenols. So really that's how we do it every time. So that's a presentation we did in Napa early in January. That's also the kind of thing we do in France, in Provence, Bordeaux, or Burgundy. So in some of these slides, I will go faster because obviously there was already some presentation on this. But I think to summarize what was said before, what's very important to remember is that overall the winter was dry. February was extremely dry, as well as December, and it was not really compensated by what happened in January. So we can really remember that it was a pretty dry winter, and that in the second phase of the winter, the phase 2, I mean, because of this, atmospheric river and what happened in April, we had a pretty wet phase 2. A lot in more or less wetter than in in most regions, Carneros and Russian River. There was only Dry Creek that was different for us this year and similar to 2017. So what is the takeaway? So I think we have mixed signals here. So for sure, dry early on and then wet. And so what was the potential effect on vegetative development? So for sure, because of the dry February and cool and dry December, we can imagine that soil mineralization was a bit lower in 2018. So we'll see what did we measure in terms of nitrogen uptake. But for sure, when you have really dry months of winter, this is something that can happen. And then with the amount of water we got at the end of phase 1 and during phase 2, for sure, water supply was not a limitation. And so the question we can ask ourselves is, what about leaf area development? And we'll see that later on. So in terms of temperature, we saw earlier on that it was a pretty cold winter. And we can see that in terms of GDD. So you can see that in both Carneros, Russian River, and Dry Creek, overall we had a smaller heat accumulation. Wait, and this is not 2 and 3. I think it's 1 and 2. And so practically speaking, what does that mean is that because there was less heat accumulation, the leaf area development was probably slower. So it doesn't mean that it didn't reach really high vegetative growth, but it was probably very slow at the beginning. And potentially that means that the date at which the maximum was reached was probably a little bit later this year. And again, we'll see if that was true in terms of measurements. So what was the effect on plant parameter? So what we do is that with the sap flow measurements we perform across Sonoma, we are able to measure KCB, what we call KCB max. And KCB max is basically a measure of leaf area development. It's the ability of the plant to capture light. So what was really interesting this year is that, as was probably possible to forecast looking at the weather, we definitely had KCB that were a lot higher than the previous years. So you see about 20% higher for Merlot in Carneros. In Russian River, it was also about 20%, a bit less maybe. And only for Cabernet Sauvignon, we had some similar measurements in Cabernet Sauvignon in the Russian River. But overall, the trend was definitely to higher leaf area development. In terms of the date at which this leaf area development was the maximum was reached, we can see that really the important parameter for this year was the fact that it was a lot later than usual. So in 2016 and 2017, we were basically the last part of May or early June, whereas here we were really the last part of June and early July. And so for sure, this is related to temperature and the fact that we had, as we saw before, we had a pretty slow year in terms of GDD early in the season. So what's the take home? High leaf area development, and basically this leaf area development reached later. So the question we can ask ourselves is, what about maturation? Where we late also? So and potentially higher berry volume, obviously. And then the last thing is what about berry maturation? If the peak berry volume was reached later and the peak sugar amount, were we able to reach the type of maturation you guys need for winemaking? Obviously, that's the kind of question we can ask when we see that. So what about nitrogen uptake? So we've been doing this also for a few years now across Sonoma. And so the type of NBI peak value that we see are the following. And so again, you see that we really saw a lot lower nitrogen uptake for Carneros in the Merlot. And it confirms what we also saw in Napa. So if you look at Napa, comparing 2016, 2017, 2018 for different varietal, you see that it's pretty consistent. So for us, that's an overall trend of the vintage too. The fact that the nitrogen uptake really was lower than usual. So how do you explain this? What causes it? So for us, there are 4 questions. First of all, in terms of nitrogen uptake and plant function, we can ask ourselves, is the low NBI a consequence of availability? Because we saw that in December and February, the temperature were really low, so maybe there was less mineralization and so less availability. Or is it a problem of dilution of the nitrogen into the biomass? Because we saw that the KCB leaf area development was a lot higher this year. So if you have more development of leaf, potentially that just means that there was a dilution of nitrogen. So there was maybe as much assimilation, but less nitrogen overall in the leaf because there were more leaf. And so the question is obviously, is an NBI low enough to lower photosynthesis rate or not? Maybe it was good enough. And so what is also, for sure, what is the relation to sugar loading? And that would be interesting to see with Cecilia's talk if there is a link. The third question is NBI low enough to affect fruit composition? So you should keep that in mind when you analyze the skin color density and the wine aromatic complexity, and that's something we will see with Scott later on today. And finally, what is the relationship with nitrogen uptake and yield in 2019? As you know, nitrogen can have some adverse effects on the yield for the following year. And so was it low enough in 2018 that it's going to affect yield in 2019? So for sure, that's something you should look at for the 2019 season. That's it for me. As I said, I will continue with the maturation side of things after the break. Thank you. A couple of questions, maybe?
Any questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Sebastian.